that story of okay, if you would have heard that story of Devasur, Sangram, and then that churning of the ocean, you've heard that?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So there was this mountain, and there was this snake. Vasuki snake was brought,
Yes.
and then the ocean was churned. One side the demigods were, heading, like, catching hold of, and other side, this demons were there.
Yes.
Now this snake, he was feeling lots of pain in his body. Okay, so now, and that's very obvious, correct? That because his body was kind of coiled on that mountain. Yeah, that's how he was feeling. He was feeling lots of pain. And then what happened? Then it is mentioned that, the Lord injected the ignorance in the body of the snake.
Okay.
And then what happened with that ignorance? Due to the injection of ignorance in the body of the snake, he kind of stopped feeling that pain. So many times people in this material world, they have lots of problems and troubles in their life, but they're too much into ignorance that they don't realize and understand that pain. Sometimes it's called ignorance is bliss. Okay, so everybody in this material world is in pain. Some people, they're realizing and they're trying to find the solution of that pain, that I'm putting lots of efforts, I'm putting so much energy, I'm spending my days and nights in trying to maintaining a life, just trying to eradicate the problems from my life. But these problems are not going to go away. They're just, coming more and more. The solutions which I am trying, to eradicate my problems are more problematic than the actual problem. So after realizing that, then they try, that is the position, or that is the right situation from where we can take entry in the spiritual process or spirituality, and then we can proceed. But this category what I was talking about, so everybody in the material world is actually in pain, in trouble, but then they try to find out some material ways. They try to get indulged in intoxication. They try to get indulged in all sinful kind of activities. They try to kind of forget things just by getting intoxicated, having those kind of some liquor, or blah blah. I don't want to talk much about it, but the point is that the process we are trying to follow is the process of goodness. So and this process of goodness will take us to a permanent happiness situation. That other option, that ignorance kind of option, which has been injected by the so-called hype created by this media, this all these so much mediums, they are kind of temporary relief. They might give us temporary relief and keep us in keep us away from the truth. Whereas we take this process of Bhagavad Gita. So this process of Bhagavad Gita would take us into the Brahmanand or Paramanand position, and that can be kind of long lasting happiness situation, which we call Satchidananda. So that is something, that is what we call a spiritual process, wherein we attain the self realization, and so on. There's so many terms which you must have heard also, and we have discussed also. So that is what I was trying to convey through the chapter 1, because unless we understand that chapter 1, the theory or the concept behind chapter 1, the whole Gita kind of will take not that seriously. Now second one learning is also there in the chapter 1, that how to connect, or how to create a new relationship. So basically Krishna, he heard the full chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita. And in chapter 2 also you'll be hearing something from Arjuna more. But the point is, if you want to have a good relationship with anyone, you should hear that person. So the chapter on full, Arjuna is speaking, Krishna is hearing. Arjuna is speaking, Krishna is hearing. Krishna is saying, yeah, yeah. You see, there is no direct sloka which Krishna is speaking in the chapter 1. So people, they want, people, they want to be heard. So if you want to, so there is some books written also that, how to create good relationship, or how to make friends, something like that. So if you want to make friends, so better you hear, the other person. If you're hearing some person, automatically he'll feel that, you know generally it's a general complaint, nobody hears me, in India, koi sunta hi nahi hai mera. Generally in house also some elder people also say that, koi sunta nahi hai mere ko. So the point is, Krishna is actually showing through his example that we should hear people, and more specifically, if you're hearing someone who is in distress, who is in depression, who is in tension, who is having pain in his life or her life. So if you are with the person, just hearing, you might not solve these issues also. But if you hear, he'll consider you as, his or her friend. Okay, now can I proceed next? Or if anybody has any question, you can ask.
We can proceed, Prabhuji.
Okay. So now text 1. So we'll recite sloka. Sanjaya Vacha
Sanjaya Uvacha
Tam Tatha Kripayavishtam
तं तपा कृपयाविष्टम्
Ashrupunakule
अश्रुपूर्णाकुलेक्षणम्
Vishidantam Idam Vakyam
विषीदन्तम् इदं वाक्यम्
Uvacha Madhusudana.
वाचा मधुसूदन.
To save time, I'll just move on. So translation, please read.
Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna spoke the following words. Material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of ignorance of the real self. Compassion for the eternal soul is self realization. The word Madhusudana is significant in this verse. Lord Krishna killed the demon Madhu, and now Arjuna wanted Krishna to kill the demon of misunderstanding that had overtaken him in the discharge of his duty. No one knows where compassion should be applied. Compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. A man fallen in the ocean of nescience cannot be saved simply by rescuing his outward dress, the gross material body. One who does not know this and laments for the outward dress is called a Sudra, or one who laments unnecessarily. Arjuna was a Kshatriya, and this contact was not expected from him. Lord Krishna, however, can dissipate the lamentation of the ignorant man, and for this purpose the Bhagavad Gita was sung by him. This chapter instructs us in self realization by an analytical study of the material body and the spirit soul, as explained by the Supreme Authority, Lord Sri Krishna. This realization is possible when one works without attachment to fruitive results and is situated in the fixed conception of the real self.
So Sanjay is saying that seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed. So Arjuna is in depression. His eyes full of tears. You can see, Arjuna was very brave personality. He has won many battles. He was victorious in multiple, tough battles. But here the same Arjuna is crying. Looking Arjuna in that situation, Madhusudana Krishna, he is speaking further. So here, nice things are given in purpose, and the summary is that we should not be compassionate towards the body. Rather, we should have compassion towards the soul. Jesus Christ also says in Bible that what you have benefited, even if you have won the whole world, but you lost your soul. So basically, the body, we are generally compassionate on the body. Sometimes it happens that, in the morning, it generally, in our scriptures, it is given that we should rise early in the morning. But then when we ask someone to awake in the morning, and then some people will argue that, let him sleep, and all. So let him sleep more. He's tired and everything. But the point is, the devotees still, they'll try to make him awake, just for the simple reason because they'll be compassionate towards that soul which is lying inside that body. Okay, so sometimes on a spiritual path, you might have to give some discomfort to your body, just for the betterment, or for the for the for the soul. Okay, so let's see second verse. Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Kutastvakashmalmidam
Kutasvakasmalamidam
Vishame Samupasthitam
Vishame Samupastitam
Anarjustam Aswargam
Naryajustam Asvargam
Akirtikaram Arjuna.
Akirtikaram Arjuna.
Yes, please read translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets but to infamy. Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. Therefore, Lord Krishna is referred to as Bhagavan throughout the Gita. Bhagavan is the ultimate in the absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding, namely Brahman, or the impersonal, all-pervasive spirit, Paramatma, or the localized aspect of the Supreme within the heart of the all living entities, and Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this conception of the absolute truth is explained thus. Vadanti tatvatta vidyasvam yat gnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti syabhyate.
Yes.
The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding by the knower of the absolute truth, and all of them are identical. Such phases of the absolute truth are expressed in Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. These three divine.
Hare Krishna. So basically, the first time in Bhagavad Gita, this word is coming Sri Bhagavan Vacha. So this is the place where Krishna is, first time speaking. So that's how, Krishna is mentioned as Sri Bhagavan. Everybody knows that Krishna spoke Gita. So instead of writing Sri Krishna Vacha, because Vedavyas was knowing that people might say that Krishna is not God. So that is how he is writing here, Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Okay. So now Bhagavan is perceived in three ways, or the absolute truth is perceived in three ways. So Paramatma, Bhagavan, and Brahman. So here Vadanti Tattvavidas Tattvam. So Tattvavid means the expert people or self-realized people. So Vadanti means they speak. So Vadanti Tattvavidas Tattvam Yad Jnanam Advayam. So three things: Brahmeti, yani Brahman, second Paramatma, and third is Bhagavan. So these are three aspects, or in three ways we can realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or the Bhagavan. Now Brahman means the Brahma Jyoti, the light which is emanating from the body of Krishna or Bhagavan. Second is Paramatma. So basically, it's like if we consider sun. So the planet sun is kind of the place, or we can consider sunlight. Sunlight is kind of Brahma Jyoti, and the planet sun you can consider as Bhagavan. And if you keep multiple pots having water, then the reflection or the bimba, which can be seen in that in a pot, that is kind of Paramatma. So Bhagavan, similarly Bhagavan, who is deciding in the spiritual world, that is Bhagavana, and Paramatma is that aspect of Bhagavan is deciding the heart of every living entity. That's called Paramatma. And Brahman is every anu, every atom of this world or spiritual world, anywhere. Every atom can be considered kind of Brahman. So Brahman is everywhere. Similarly, see, sometimes some people can ask, our body has many cells. So every cell is kind of living. So every cell might have a soul. So similarly, but actually we have only one soul in our body. So all other, cells, they are kind of Brahmana or Anu, and where can be some living entities also. But then we have got one soul, and that this Paramatma is residing with that one soul. Okay, so Paramatma and Bhagavan is residing in the spiritual world. So the three ways actually they are. So depending on the label of a person can perceive Bhagavan or Paramatma or Brahman. Or the different scriptures also mention these three understanding that some people, it's like generally the people who are in the process of Jnana Yoga, their ultimate achievement would be Brahman. And the people who are into Dhyana Yoga, they will be able to meditate on Paramatma. And then finally, devotees, they perceive the absolute truth as Bhagavan. So these are some technical things given here. Yes, please continue. Here's some examples coming here.
These three divine aspects can be explained by the example of the sun, which is also has three different aspects, namely the sunshine, the sun's surface, and the sun planet itself. One who studies the sunshine only is the preliminary student. One who understands the sun's surface is further advanced. And one who can enter into the sun planet is the highest. Ordinary students who are satisfied by simply understanding the sun sign, its universal pervasiveness, and the glaring effulgence of its impersonal nature, may be compared to those who can realize only the Brahman feature of the absolute truth. The student who has advanced still further can know the sun disk, who is compared to knowledge of the Paramatma feature of the absolute truth. And the student who can enter into the heart of the sun planet is compared to those who realize the personal features of the supreme absolute truth. Therefore, the bhaktas are the transcendentalists who have realized the Bhagavan feature of the absolute truth are the topmost transcendentalists. Although all students who are engaged in the study of absolute truth are engaged in the same subject matter. The sunshine, the sun disk, and the inner affairs of the sun planet cannot be separated from one another. And yet, the students of the three different pages are not in the same category. The Sanskrit word Bhagavan is explained by the great authority Parasara Muni, the father of Vyasadeva. The Supreme Personality who possesses all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and the renunciation is called Bhagavan. There are many persons who are very rich, very powerful, very beautiful, very famous, very learned, and very much detached, but no one can claim that he possesses all riches, all strength, etc. entirely. Only Krishna can claim this because he is the supreme personality of the Godhead. No living entity, including Brahma, Lord Shiva, or Narayana, can possess opulences as fully as Krishna. Therefore, it is concluded in the Brahma Samhita by Lord Brahma himself that Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. No one is equal to or above him. He is the primeval Lord or Bhagavan, known as Govinda, and he is the supreme cause of all causes. Ishvara Paramah Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme because none can excel him. He is the supreme person and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the primeval Lord Govinda and the cause of all causes. In Bhagavatam also, there is a list of many incarnations of Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Krishna is described as the original personality of Godhead from whom many incarnations and personalities of Godhead explained. एते चांसकला पुंसः कृष्णस्य भगवान् स्वयम् इन्द्रारिव्याकुलं लोकं मृडयन्ति युगे युगे. All these lists of incarnations of Godhead submitted here with the either plenary expansions or parts of the plenary expansions of the Supreme Godhead. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Therefore, Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, the source of both the Super Soul and impersonal Brahman. In the presence of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna lamentation for his kinsman is certainly unbecoming, and therefore Krishna expressed his surprise with the word kuta, where from. Such impurities were never expected from a person belonging to the civilized class of men known as Aryans. The word Aryan is applicable to persons who know the value of life and have a civilization based on spiritual realization. Persons who are led by the material conception of life do not know that the aim of life is realization of the absolute truth, Vishnu or Bhagavan, and they are captivated by the external features of the material world, and therefore they do not know what liberation is. Persons who have no knowledge of liberation from material bondage are called non-Aryans. Although Arjuna was a Kshatriya, he was deviating from his prescribed duties by declining to fight. This act of cowardice is described as befitting the non-Aryans. Such deviation from duty does not help one in the progress of spiritual life, nor does it even give one the opportunity to become famous in this world. Lord Krishna did not approve of the so-called compassion of Arjuna for his kinsman.
Yeah. So basically, in this sloka, Krishna is kind of in a friendly way saying that how have these impurities come upon you. So in 2.7, Arjuna is going to surrender to Krishna, and he'll say that I am your Shishya, I am your student, and please guide me what is good for me. But at this situation, Arjuna is kind of friend to Krishna. So Krishna, in a friendship way, is saying that how these impurities came upon you. They are not befitting a man who knows the value of life. I mean, you should be knowing the value of life. So here, anarya. So a person who do not know the value of life. So why you're behaving like anarya? And this kind of behavior, they lead not to higher planets but to infamy. So in the previous time, people were aware of higher planets, lower planets, and everybody was kind of desiring to go to the higher planets. So this concept of rebirth and soul and everything was known to everyone. So that is how Krishna is saying here to Arjuna that this behavior is not befitting you. Second thing, the definition of Bhagavan is also given. So Bhagavan means a person who possesses. Bhag means opulence. One means possessor. So a person who has these 6 qualities can be called Bhagavan. So a person is very rich, very powerful. Actually, all richness, all powerful. Here given, sorry, yeah. All riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation can be called Bhagavan. So Krishna is having all rich. Why? Because Lakshmi is serving him. He's sitting under his feet and he's serving. She is serving Krishna. So he's sitting in the lotus feet of Krishna. So all riches, all strength. So a small boy, he's lifting Govardhana. Just from the nail, tip of the nail of the left hand and the small finger. So he is having all strength. He's all fame. So Krishna is famous among Brahma, Vishnu, all the demigods. And he's nowadays famous in this material world also. All beauty. So he is all beautiful. So, when Krishna used to go to this Vrindavan, so people, even the Yamuna Maya, whenever she used to glance Krishna, she used to get stopped, her water waves were getting stopped. These plants, when they were having the darshan of Krishna, So they were kind of, when they are flying, they'll kind of, get freezed. So that is the beauty of Krishna. All knowledge is Gita given by Krishna, see how powerful it is, and all renunciation. So Krishna, you are living with gopis in Vrindavan. When he left Vrindavan, so he was having lots of attachment to these gop sakhas, gopis, everyone. He's Nanda Baba, Yashoda Maya. But when he left Vrindavan, he never come back. He never came back. So the point is, he's renounced Krishna in the form of Rama. When he came, evening he was told that he'll become the king of the whole world. In the morning he was told that you have to go to forest, and then he didn't retaliate. So that is the renunciation of Krishna. So that is how Krishna can be properly called Bhagavan. Other Ishvara Param Krishna, Brahma is also saying in Brahma Samhita that Ishvara Param Krishna. So who is the Param Ishvara? Is Krishna. Then Prabhupada quoting from Bhagavatam. We are reading in morning the Bhagavatam, 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 1.3.28. So this sloka also says, Ete cha amsa kala punsa Krishnastu Bhagavan swayam. So other incarnations, they are either kala or amsha. Okay. So their incarnations or expansions. So they're either expansions or incarnations of Krishna, but Krishna is actually the Bhagavan. So Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Indrari Vyakulam Lokan. Indrari and Indra, like when the demigods, they get Vyakula, they get disturbed, then Mudayanti, then Krishna incarnates in this world. So like there are multiple ways it is getting established here that Krishna is Bhagavan. And then down that Arjuna, it's not befitting you the way you're behaving. So it's kind of your friend is going with you for some tour, and on the last day he's saying, I don't want to come. I don't feel like coming. No, nothing. I mean, something like that, some kind of unexpected arguments he's saying. Then you'll be like, come on, you should not say that. If you wanted to not come with me, so you should have told it before. So that's what Krishna is saying, that previously you must have mentioned all these points, correct? Now we are in the fight and you're saying all these points. People would feel that you are kind of coward or something, and that will bring infamy and anarya. It's kind of anarya, so you should not do that. Okay, so I think time is done. If you have any question, I can take.
No questions, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, I had one, like I didn't understand one thing, the difference in the Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan, like.
Yeah. So Bhagavan, Bhagavan is the ultimate Krishna, is Bhagavan, and when the same Krishna, when we are jivas, souls. So we were in the spiritual world when we told Krishna that, my dear Lord, I want to enjoy independently. Then Krishna arranged this material world. He even created kind of material structure or material body, and then the Krishna sent that soul to go and reside in this material body and stay in this material world. But then Krishna accompanied that soul in the form of super soul, that's called Paramatma. So Krishna residing in Golok Vrindavan or the spiritual world is Bhagavan. Krishna residing in the heart of every living entity is Paramatma.
Okay.
And the same Krishna is present in every atom of this cosmic manifestation, be in the spiritual world or be in the material world. Then he is considered as Brahmana. Okay, so the Brahmana, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes people say ki Bhagavan kana kana mein rehte hai. Now what that means? That means that Krishna in the form of atoms, Krishna is residing in an atom in the form of Brahmana. Okay. So sometimes, there was one devotee, he was saying he belonged from a Muslim community. Later he became, ISKCON devotee. So he was kind of, when he was young, I think he was Pakistani. Asif Muhammad, later he became some devotee. So he has written a book also, Muslim and Veda, something like that. A book also he's written. So he was just mentioning that when he was young, so there's some discourse of Muslims were going on, and there he told that uh, they were saying that Allah सब जगह पे रहता है, and then he asked this question that does Allah stays in stool also, and then they were like तुमने अल्लाह का निरादर किया है, and then they just thrown him away, and they just kicked him out. And later he got a book. He went in, I guess, US or somewhere, and he became a materialistic, and then later he got a Back to God magazine of Swan, and Prabhupada had written there that Krishna resides everywhere, or God resides everywhere, even in the stool also. And then Prabhupada explained there. So Krishna is in every kana, but in the form of Brahman. So Krishna is present everywhere in the form of Brahmana, but Krishna is present in the form of Paramatma along with the soul. In the heart of this body, along with the soul, in the form of super soul, Krishna is hiding, and that super soul is basically Paramatma. Soul is Atma, super soul is Paramatma, and then same Krishna is hiding in his world, in spiritual abode, is called Bhagavan.
Okay.
So this philosophy makes sense actually, that भगवान कण कण में परमात्मा रूप में नहीं है, भगवान के रूप में नहीं है. Okay, so in the form of Brahmana. Okay.
From the example of the sun, that one has to go to, like, we need to understand the Bhagavan, right? Being a human.
That is the ultimate truth.
Okay.
So it's like, the way you go to planets, and actually you search everything, so you'll come to know sun completely. But that example is Kamruchan Prabhu, our Siksha Guru, he was mentioning that he was giving the example of these pots. He was saying that the disc sun can be seen in the pot, the reflection. So the multiple jivas in their heart is kind of pot, and the super soul is hiding there. The sun is kind of Bhagavan. So that is the topmost understanding. Basically, they're talking about the same thing. So basically, there you might feel there's nothing like superior or inferior. It's like understanding superior and inferior. So if somebody is talking about Brahmana, so still he's talking about Krishna only. So it's fine. He has not seen the complete aspect of Krishna, but then he's talking about Krishna. So we should appreciate even his understanding as well. Sometimes the people say the God is Nirakara. So Nirakara is basically Brahman, what they talk about. So he doesn't have form. So the sunlight doesn't have any form. Okay. But then that sunlight, the tube light, you see, tube light is coming, the light doesn't have any form, but it's coming from a form. The tube light has a form. Sun plant has a form. So, the teaching of Gita is that this formless aspect comes from form. But then you'll find some people talking about that ultimate truth doesn't have form and all. But that is like, it's kind of, we should not fight, and it's like it's kind of a student understanding, and later they'll understand the better aspect of it. There's nice student phase. Okay. So Gita is actually all inclusive. It welcomes all kind of philosophies, all kind of school of thoughts. Okay. Anything else?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thanks for spending your time.
Thank you. So we'll end the session. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyascha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. So, all of you tried to come in the chanting session of the morning. Okay. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.